Good evening and welcome to the Beverly Hills Unified School District Regular Board of Education meeting. Today is August the 9th, 2022. It is 5:15 and I'm going to call the meeting to order. Dr. Stern, would you lead us in the flag salute, please?
Sure. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Alex, would you please read the mission and vision statement?
Of course. In a safe and supportive community, BHUSD will deliver a rigorous and enriching quality education and prepare all students to thrive as productive citizens in a complex, changing world. All students will be inspired to act with integrity and realize their academic potential while achieving college and career readiness.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda while moving item 9 to follow just before item 7.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0 with a preferential vote from Alex Bowden. The next item on our agenda is our community spotlight. And our community spotlight today, we are highlighting National Book Lovers Day, which is today, and it seemed very appropriate that we would have our community speaker to be Julie Gohler, and she's going to speak with us on Zoom.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear
Yes.
you, Miss Kohler.
Awesome. Hey, Gabe. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I was a student many moons ago when I was a new teacher at Beverly. And so what I'd like to talk to you guys about, first of all, tonight is the last night that I have free before we go back to school tomorrow. And there is no way I would be here were it not to talk about books and love of reading with my students and the community. So what I'd like to do tonight is just talk a little bit about how I develop the programs that I've been developing and how I use them in my classroom. So does that sound okay?
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, so I was that kid who was a crazy reader from the time I was 5 or 6. My very earliest memory is being at a slumber party and reading from my place on the floor with a flashlight, which probably made me I was that kid. And I became that way because my parents were such big readers. Our house was lined from floor to ceiling with books. And when it came time for my bat mitzvah, I asked for gift certificates to B. Dalton and Walden Books, which no longer exist. But I knew that somehow I was going to try and make a living out of working with books. And initially, I thought I was going to be a writer. And while I was teaching in the first 5 or 6 years, I actually wrote 2 novels, neither of which are published, and I didn't really even try to publish it, but I didn't enjoy writing as much as I enjoyed reading. And at Beverly, the teachers knew that I was this crazy reader, and Tanis Harris, who was an administrator at the time, knew that Oprah Winfrey had just started this program with book groups, and she came up to me at the copy machine and said, "Would you be interested in running book groups for the community?" And I said, "Sure, absolutely." And so I started working for the adult school that year, and within 2 years, my name was in the catalog, and I started getting calls from private groups asking if I would facilitate for them as well. And that has blossomed into a second career, or not really a career, but something that I do once or twice a week. I have between 5 and 8 book groups a month that I meet with now. And my niche is to work with them and bring them into the studies of the writers. So very frequently, I will reach out to a writer or a publicist and ask if they are interested in speaking to a book group. And that's been amazing for me as a private book group facilitator. But where it's been even more amazing is bringing in those writers to speak to the students at Beverly Hills High School. So it's not just writers, it's been subjects as well. Writers have included people like Ayad Akhtar, who won the Pulitzer Prize for Disgraced a few years ago. To the community, I brought in everybody from Susan Orlean to Min Jin Lee. Some of you might have read Pachinko or have watched the series on Apple TV. The crowning achievement of my career thus far as a teacher and a book group facilitator was we as a community had all read Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand about the great Louis Zamperini. And he was still living at the time, and we got the entire school to read him. And then I brought him in for an assembly. We probably had that day, I want to say that most kids and most teachers in the school read the book and loved it. And that's kind of how I've worked to bring what I do outside of school into school and what I do in school outside of school. It's been a lot of fun for me. Last year we had Brett Bennett of The Vanishing Half come speak to the kids via Zoom. We've had Kevin Wilson from Nothing to See Here. And it all comes directly from the work that I do with networking with publicists, writers, and different publishing houses to bring the writers to school. So that's what I do. I think that the greatest joy of my career has been igniting a spark for kids with books and then introducing them to those authors or those subjects. At the senior level, we read a book called Still Life with Rice with Helly Lee. Gabe, do you remember that book? From when you were Beverly?
Barely.
The
title sounds familiar. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay. Well, I'm going to send you a link to it later so you can reread it and come watch when the author comes to speak with us. I have a really great working relationship with her. And the author, Helly Lee, has come in every year that we've taught the book and spoken with our kids. And it comes at a really important time of the year when the seniors are just done. They are done with school by April or May. And it's always a balancing act to see how we can continue to engage them. A great way to engage them is to bring in the author of the books that we're teaching. So it's just, as I've said, it's been the joy of my career to connect kids with the authors that they're reading in class and to teach them that the authors are not inaccessible. I got into bringing in authors by writing them and finding that they were actually kind of open to talk with me. One of the earliest letters I wrote was to William Styron, and I had read Sophie's Choice, and I was completely blown away by the book. And I wrote to him and told him what it did for me and how it opened my eyes, and he wrote me back almost immediately. And I still have that letter somewhere as something that I prize. So that's kind of what I do with books and the kids. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to go around. I think we probably all have questions for you, and I really appreciate you being here today and sharing your love of books. So, Alex, would you like to go first?
Hi, Ms. Scholar. I just want to say thank you for speaking tonight, and also I've absolutely loved the speakers, the authors who've come and spoken because of you. Britt Bennett especially, one of my favorite authors, so that was super cool. And as someone who, I actually get sent books from like big publishing houses like Simon & Schuster and Penguin Random House, and to share with like an audience that I have, and I included a video of those speakers, and it did pretty well, so thank you for that.
This year. I'll give you some more titles, okay?
I will. Thank you.
Sure.
Good evening, Mrs. Golar. Nice to see you this evening.
I would like to make a couple of comments if I could. First of all, I think I do belong to a book club, and we're self-motivated and we self-direct ourselves, and we're always looking for a book. So now I know who will be a resource for us, and I thank you for that. I was not a reader as a child. I was too busy in sports and things like that. And it wasn't until I got much older, and all the books that I ever did read were always in the same vein, mystery, legal books, things about law, and so on and so forth. And I joined a book club. A former parent got me involved in a book club. And from that point on, it's almost 20 years. I'm not sure that there's many titles that you might mention that I have not read, because I have read so many different types of books. It's really opened up my eyes, and I've really enjoyed the experience. I would like to share with you one book, if you know the name of it. The book is called LMNOP.
No, I do not know it.
Okay, it's spelled like the name, Ella, E-L-L-A, M-I-N-N-O-W, like the fish, and P like the vegetable. And it's called and it says LMNOP, and if you say it really quickly, that's the name of the book. And I can't remember the writer, but you must look it up. It's an unbelievable, clever book. And
I shall. Thank you for that tip.
And I just thank you again for your presentation tonight, and I hope everybody listens and maybe even joins and sends you notes looking for books to read. I think that would be wonderful.
I love that.
So
Thank you.
look up the book LMNOP.
I shall. Thank you.
Hi, Miss Kohler.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to see you. So I went back ahead of, I knew you were going to be the spotlight tonight. And actually, because I save everything, I went back and looked at my Dropbox folder from your class. And I pulled up an opening letter. Do you still have opening letters that you do? Okay. So the opening letter was, I introduced myself to Miss Kohler, and I read it, and I was very candid and said English is not my favorite subject. I don't really like, picking up books that much, and I'm still not an avid reader. But this is what I do remember from your class. I remember your passion about books was infectious. I remember enjoying your class. I remember the discussions we had about the books that we were reading. I was so blessed that I had you senior year. I remember I had Miss McDonald my freshman year. I think it was her first year teaching that year when I had her. And then I had Miss Rhodes, who didn't stay very long, but she was also just amazing. And I remember this passion, this feeling I got when we read books in class. And it's still hard for me to pick up books because I just have so much going on and so many other passions. But when I pick a book up, I can't put it down, and that was the feeling that I got in your class. I remember just like when we started reading stuff, because the discussion we had. And I married an avid book reader. My wife reads books all the time, so she tells me about them, and occasionally I pick up a book after her. But I remember the feeling of being in your class, and I'm so happy that you are still infecting students with that love for books. So it's great to see you, and thanks for being here.
Hi, Ms. Kohler. So wonderful to hear from you. 2 questions for you. What do you have at your bedside now that you're reading? And also your all-time favorite book.
You know what I'm reading right now, Facemaker, and McInnes, I think, is the name of the author, and it's the story of a plastic surgeon during World War I, a true story. So it's nonfiction, but it's absolutely riveting about how he figured out how to save these men's lives, basically, who had lost their faces, which is true, lost the lower part of their faces, often the jaws, noses. Warfare was really brutal at the time. And there was no way to fix the faces of men who had been destroyed, and a few women who were actually on the field as well. So I'm reading that right now. Can I give you a couple titles that I read over the summer that are really great? And if you guys are interested, you can go to my website. It's juliesbookgroups.com, no apostrophe, juliesbookgroups.com. The sleeper hit of my summer was American Baby by Gabrielle Glazer. And it's the story, also nonfiction, but also riveting narrative nonfiction about one girl in the 1950s who finds herself pregnant at the age of 16 with her boyfriend's baby. And she is forced to go to the Louise Wise Home for Girls. Some of you guys might remember it from the movie 3 Identical Strangers. And she was forced to give up her baby for adoption, even though she knew that she was going to end up with her boyfriend at the time, lost the child, and it's her journey through the adoption system and also the baby's journey as he grew up and what happened to him. That was kind of incredible. I just finished Chemistry Lessons by Bonnie Garmas, It is going to be great for my students this year. And tomorrow I'm going to reach out. I didn't want to write to anybody before school actually started, but I'm going to write to the science department and ask if we can work together on a program for this one. It's about a woman chemist in the 1960s who can't really keep her job as a woman with a child. It really shows, it's a full showcasing of sexism on display in the workplace. It's laugh out loud funny, like hysterical funny. And I think it's going to work well for both my book groups and my students at school. And I'm hoping to work with Colleen Lynch a little bit on it. So those are some of them. I always have two books going. I have something that I'm reading on my Kindle and something that I'm listening to. And just for all of you, here's a great reading hack. If you get Kindle, you can download for a few extra dollars the Audible of it, and it will go seamlessly from what you're reading on your Kindle to what you're listening to back and forth. It's called Whisper Sync, and it's a fabulous, fabulous app.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Julie. I was going to ask you that very question, if you read books or if you're on Kindle, what your preference is. I'm curious about that. Also, I have a daughter. I have 3 children. So I have one who was an avid reader as a child, like what you described. Everywhere she went, she had a book in her hand. We were on vacation, in the airport, any chance she could pull out her book, she was reading. And now, strangely enough, she's not reading. So that's just baffling to me. I have another daughter who is always reading. She's like you as an adult. She's always got 2 books going at all times. And she's just constantly reading.
Do you know why?
I think she's 23. So I think when she got into high school, she just got so bombarded with work that she left it, and she has not picked it back up. So I'm waiting. I think that'll come back. And then, yeah, and she's around readers, and my other daughter's reading constantly. And then my son is just absolutely not a reader. He's visual, and he's not. I don't think he's ever going to become a reader. He tries though. But I'm curious about for me, like I have the same challenge that Gabe is saying. It's so hard for me to make the time now at this time in my life to read, that I feel like a book club is probably, I need the structure so that I can make that time and have accountability. I'm curious, what your advice is for making that time, and what you've found in your book groups to be, essential, or what makes a really great book group.
So for my book groups, I always say the same thing, and that is that the commitment is to the group, not to the book. So you're always going to have books you don't love. That's okay. It's most important that you show up for the book group. If you didn't finish it, I want you to come to the book group. If you didn't start it, I want you to come to the book group. So that's kind of an important thing that I want. I'm certainly looking for books that are going to be beloved by all or most of my readers, but I'm not going to hit it out of the park every single time. I think it's great to have designated time a day where you're reading. For me, I read when I'm cooking. I read when I'm gardening. By that, I mean I'm listening. And then because I have the Kindle, I'll often go back and mark up passages and reread passages. But I'm not reading just for pleasure. I'm reading for my work. And yeah, that helps a lot. I do think being part of a book group where someone is selecting great books for you, obviously I believe in a facilitated book group. I get hired by a lot of book groups who say that too much of their prior book groups devolved into just a gab fest. And my book groups have a gab element to them too, but because I have a very clear structure to them, so we meet at 7, people have dinner, and I generally arrive between 7:15 and 7:30, and then we move right into the discussion of the books at 7:45. I wrap it up by 9 p.m. because I believe, and notwithstanding this board, nobody wants to be out past 9 o'clock at night on a weeknight. I know you guys sometimes are together much later than that, but all things being equal, do you want to be, or would you like to be home by 9 o'clock, right?
We're aiming for the same thing.
Yeah, 100%. Nobody wants to be out past 9 o'clock. So because I provide them with that structure, they end up kind of having a winning recipe. The very last 10 minutes of the meeting, I pitch all of my new books that I've read in the last month. Today, I posted all of the book groups all of the books that I read in July. That's my senior dog barking or coughing under my table, sorry. But best thing I can recommend is getting into a book group where people care about each other and care about the quality of the books that they're reading. It's really a lot of fun. It's very social. I have groups that have been together since Gabe was my student. I mean, like 20 years. Has it been 20 years, Gabe?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 20
Yes.
years. And I have book groups. My most recent group that I added was like 6 years ago. I'm very careful about adding groups and making sure that our philosophies align, that we read the same kind of things. So typically in a year, I'll read, it's mostly fiction. We'll do one classic. This year, I'm doing Tale of Two Cities. And it's one of my favorite books to teach to my sophomore honors kids at Beverly, but it's really fun to do in a book group as well. And then I also try to do one nonfiction. So American Baby, the one I told you about adoption, is definitely going to be on the list for all of my book groups, and the author is already calling in and participating. So
Terrific.
Really, in like a retrospect, that's what your class felt like. I mean, it felt like a big book group, you know, a lot of the time when we were reading stuff together and discussing it. I think that's why it was enjoyable and it was infectious. I think now, like, I'm so busy, I have so much going on, like to pick up a book and not be able to, you know, to discuss it with someone. It's like, what do I do with all this energy and
Right.
thoughts? So
I typically pick it up during vacations.
yeah.
And then I put it down when I get home, and then vacation rolls around again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. So I'm going to put it out there. Anybody that is looking for someone to join their book club or wants to start a book club, please contact me, because I'm game for that 100%. So I'd love to hear from you. I also, just very quickly, I'm curious about your writing, and if you plan to pick up your writing again, or do you have a regular writing practice now in addition to your love of books?
Yeah, thank you. No, I don't have one right now. And that's the piece that feels really hard to me while I'm teaching. So I write about books, and I write to update my website and for newsletters that I do for my book groups, but I'm not doing any fiction writing. I thought a lot about writing nonfiction in terms of how the pandemic impacted the world of education. And I still think I'm going to do that. I still think that this year I have an article or two in me about the pros and cons, like what we've gotten from this last year. But I'm not in a writing group right now, and that's so critical for anyone who wants to write. I spent my first 10 years of teaching in writing classes at UCLA and, you know, working on my own writing, and I've completely stopped doing that, but I'm not proud of it. I'd like to get back into it.
Well, it's never too late. My father passed away at 97, and I would say when he was, I guess it was 88, he joined at Roxbury Park a writing group, and he was formerly an engineer, and he was not a writer at all. And he started going to that class, and he went every week to the end of his life and wrote a paper a week. And now we have this incredible collection from my father of all of his writing, and it's really fascinating to watch the progression from when he first started that group to the end of his life. Just the progression in his writing ability. I mean, it's a testament to that as being a practice and writing every day, because he really improved dramatically his writing skills, and he left us an incredible gift. So it's never too late. It's a long, long life, hopefully, for all of us. But if anybody else has anything else to add, I just want to thank you, Julie, for sharing your love of books, and it's been really wonderful.
Just wanted to add
you.
something just really quick, because I don't know, she didn't share this. Hi, Ms. Scholar. You know, one thing that it's nice to hear stories from students, because of course, you know, that's what Ms. Scholar does as an exemplary teacher, but she also provides an opportunity for staff as well. And she does a book club for our staff. I remember just reading one of our last books. It was The Sweetness of Water. And just to be able to extend what you do in the classroom to staff is just really important. And you do that for all staff in BHUSD. And just thank you for that.
That's great.
Oh, thank you. really fun for me too, just to provide that place and also to bring those authors to staff members is such a blessing. It's so much fun.
It's really wonderful. Well, thank you for being part of this community. It's obvious that you bring so much to so many people here, and thank you for sharing yourself and your time.
Oh, and thank you, Mrs. Wells, for reaching out to me. Thank you. I had to think about it for a second. Last night, I have a book group in an hour, but no, I never turned down an opportunity to talk about reading and what it's done for my life and the people in my life. So students and book group people alike, thank you.
Well, it's really wonderful. Thank you for making the time.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see you next
See you, Ms.
time.
Goller.
Bye, guys.
That was great. Okay, our next item on the agenda is, let me find it. We have professional and official business, and we have items on here. I would actually recommend that we combine item A and B. So if, may I have a motion for approval of items A and B?
Sure. I'll make a motion for the approval of the BHUSD mission statement, vision statement, and values, and the governance handbook.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All right, so let's start with our discussion. All right, I'll start. Okay, so as a board president and with the board and the cabinet this year, we had an inaugural meeting with board and cabinet to talk about planning session, having a planning session and planning for this upcoming year. And I would say as an overall theme for our board and our leadership is that we really have been looking at the direction that we're going as a district. And it started with looking at our bylaws, revising our governance handbook. We're taking a look at the strategic plan. And as all a part of that, and looking at this year and going forward, we took a look at the vision and mission statement as well as our values. And we're revising and fine-tuning our strategic plan as for the upcoming year and the years going forward. I think that we're really excited about the work that we're doing. We have really focused in on educational excellence and looking at all of these things through the lens of educational excellence. And so what we have on the agenda this evening is what the board and cabinet have come up with together. What we see as the vision for the district moving forward and the mission and the values, as well as we've revised our governance handbook. And we've been discussing it. We were originally going to put it on the agenda for approval tonight, but in our discussions, we feel like it's important for us to leave it as a discussion for this evening so people have a chance to look at it and that give an opportunity for the community to give us feedback before we approve it on at our next board meeting. Mrs. Marcus?
Yeah, I was the one that thought that it might be better to let some of the community, the staff, the teachers have something to say and have some input on this. And so I really wanted to wait before we approve it so that we do get that at least they feel like they have a stake in it. Even though I know it's us at the board put it out there, I do believe we should listen to what some people have to say about it. So I am not ready to really approve it tonight. And I don't know that I feel comfortable with some of the final things on the governance handbook. So I'm kind of hoping we can take this off the table at this time.
Well, what I'd like to do before we do that is if we can bring it up on the screen so the community can see it. It was attached to the agenda, but sorry, Mrs. Marcus, can you turn your microphone off? What I want to do, if it's okay,
I'd love it,
Madam President, is to have a quick introduction of the mission, vision, and the values as we as the board working with Dr. Brady and the administration have currently drafted. So this is the draft form of the mission statement, vision, and values, and just explain for a minute, I think, what our thinking is. And if anyone else wants to comment, please do so. So the mission we've shortened substantially. We wanted it to be really brief, really to the point. So anyone as part of the Beverly Hills Unified School District community knows exactly how to articulate what we are after. A mission statement is really what defines the business of the organization. It's what we're after. It's our objective. It's the drumbeat of what we do. And so to make it really short, really to the point, we are about educational excellence. That is what we are after. And not just in the academic sense, not just in the cultural sense, in all aspects of what we do, that's the light at the end of the tunnel. That educational excellence, it's what everything that we should be doing as an organization points to. The vision is really like, what is the future state that we're after? If we're going after this mission, where is it that we aspire to be? And that I'll read out loud. Our students will realize their full potential to thrive with integrity in a complex, changing world. There's a lot of different words there. We had a few sentences in there. We really just wanted to narrow it down to what this is all about. It's about our students. It's about them reaching their full potential, them thriving with integrity in this complex, changing world that we know. It's very hard. I don't think there's ever been a time in history that it's harder to predict what the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years will look like. So the best we can do is arm them to reach their full potential, whatever that is, but really to do so with integrity. And then the values are, how do we conduct ourselves? How do we plan to get there? What are the guidelines? What are the, the rules of how we plan to execute and reach this future vision and to go after educational excellence? And so rather than define a bunch of terms, we just laid out a few, 6 to be exact, values that are really important to us. One of them we've already stated in our mission, and that's up at excellence. Whatever we do, we want to hold ourselves to a very high bar. We want to do it with integrity. We really care about overall wellness. I mean, we're not going to reach excellence at the expense of the well-being of our students, of our teachers, of our community. We believe in holistic wellness, well-being. We believe in inclusion. We believe in safety. And of course, as a community, we want to do this together. So that's how we have thought about our mission, vision, and values. Clearly, anyone else throw any other thoughts in. But if anyone has any thoughts about any of this in the community, including, our parents, our teachers, administrators, I mean, this is really for all of us. This is our drumbeat. And so very open to feedback from our the community on this.
Thank you, Gabe. And along the same lines, in revising our governance handbook, our mission and vision statement, as well as our values, are also what is included in our governance handbook. And so we're going to pull that as well so that we can approve these things all together. Oh, Mandy, did you have anything?
No, I don't have anything to add at this point. Thanks.
Okay. One other thing I'd say is that we are also along the same lines as this. We're looking at a community pledge, and that will be forthcoming as well for everybody to see. And we really are excited about this upcoming year. I think that the work that we've done as a team and focusing in on what is our common goal and our common purpose has really brought clarity to our thinking, and as we're looking at the strategic plan in this upcoming year. And I can say for certain that this board and the cabinet, we couldn't be more excited about starting this year. And we are so behind this educational excellence for our school district. Okay. Sure, if there's
Again,
no
I want
other.
to go back to the thought that I just feel that there should be some input in community. And Gabe, thank you very much for that complete explanation of it, so that everybody can understand where we're coming from and can look at it. I think that's very important. I would just like to add that I always have felt that a mission and a vision statement is something that you can walk around with and blurt out without any problem, because you carry it right there with you all the time. And if it's too long, nobody's going to listen to you. And this really compacts it into what we are all about. The integrity, the excellence, and the preparing them for the future. It says it all there in that one sentence with the word excellent. So I love it, but I do want to have people weigh in on it a little bit. So I'm not ready to approve it tonight.
I would agree. It's also part of our board governance handbook that we were going to approve tonight, that we, do these things with our community, and that's why we all, I think, wanted to make sure that we give our community the opportunity, the whole community, the parents, students, teachers, everybody, the opportunity to comment. So please do, if you have any thoughts, please, that email us. And but with that, if it's okay, Ms. Wells, I'll make a motion to table this item, both the board governance handbook and the mission, vision, and values until our next board meeting.
And I will second that motion.
Terrific. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes 4-0 with a preferential vote from Alex Bowden. And I'd like to just thank Mr. Halimi and Mrs. Marcus for their suggestion to pull it this evening. I think is a really great and wise recommendation. So thank you both for that. I really appreciate it. And we'll have it on our agenda for the next meeting, and we hope to hear from all of you. Okay.
Can I make a motion for the discussion of, do we need a motion?
Yeah, well, we can just have discussion. Yeah.
Let's have a discussion.
All right. So the next item is discussion about a board liaison for BHEF meetings.
Yeah, so I brought this up, I think, at the last board meeting, right? And so as I've been very fortunate, thank you to my colleagues again for giving me the opportunity to be on this board for a year. As I've had the opportunity to kind of look around the school district and where the opportunities are, where we have underleveraged assets and opportunities to do better and whatnot, I do believe that BHEF is one of those areas. I think there is a ton more that we can do through BHEF. I want to continue to put a spotlight on where BHEF, what BHEF is doing. I think that BHEF can benefit from us. I think we can benefit from BHEF. So I think a more close working relationship is in order. Not that we're not working together closely already. I know that Dr. Brady works with BHEF, but I think it's important for the board to be more involved there as well. And the same way that we are reporting back on other committee meetings and whatnot, other community involvements that we have at this Board of Education, I think that having some direct liaison with BHEF, so we're sharing what's going on back and forth, is prudent. So that's why I think I brought it up for discussion, if my memory serves me correctly.
Great. I have a question. Is there anything that we're not considering that creates a conflict with the board interacting with BHEF that we're not aware of or not considering?
No, I think that it's like our other committees. I think it's important to have some representation working with BHEF. All the initiatives benefit our students and our schools. And so having board representation to not only attend but then report back at board meetings is a good idea and not a conflict of interest in any way.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I think BHEF is a missed opportunity for us to not be participating in. I think having the fact that we're elected officials and representing many people in the city and our community, I think it's a great voice to have and also a voice to take back out to the community. So that's my 2 cents. Mrs. Marcus?
Well, if you look at the name of the organization, Beverly Hills Education starts it all off. And that's what we're all about. And that's who our school district. So there's no question in my mind that we would really be remiss if we didn't have someone attending the meetings, at least when they have a meeting, and we can take turns if that becomes cumbersome, because as you know, we all attend many meetings already, and I would be willing to go, and I would be willing to share with other people who want to go. But I think that it's a matter of finding someone to go. When I don't know when the meetings are right now. I've never attended one, But I do believe that we're missing the boat if we do not have someone attending those meetings when they occur.
I think they're once a month. Are they? Is that correct?
Yes, to my knowledge, it's once a month.
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming, Gabe, that you're interested since you brought this up.
I am interested. I've already met with Farah, the president of BHEF, to talk to her about where the opportunities are. I think it does speak volumes when Mrs. Marcus says that she's never been to a BHEF meeting. I think that says a lot, because I know Mrs. Marcus has been all over this community for not that many years, but for more than 10. We'll just leave it at that. So I do think it's a big opportunity. I also think specifically when it comes to our construction program and new buildings coming online and whatnot, I mean, we have naming opportunities to talk about, and having an endowment, a big endowment, is I believe it's a sign of a thriving school district. Having those dollars come back to impact education every single year is crucial. I think right now BHEF is somewhere around a $3 million endowment. I know school districts like Manhattan Beach are at a $20 million endowment. So I believe we can do a lot better than we're doing but today.
Yeah, I think that there's not a lot of people out there in the community may not know the value or hear a lot about BHEF, but it does a lot of amazing things. Like, for example, there was a grant that helped a teacher pilot the building of a computer, and they came in and they did a fantastic demonstration. I know there's a lot of different components of our district, and I'm not sure that the community necessarily ties some of these amazing things to BHEF. So, there's some, Farah's great. There's a lot of people behind the helm who are doing a great job, but it would be great to have it more online, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would love to appoint you, Gabe, as the BATF liaison, if you would like to be that person.
Well, I don't think we have that on the agenda for tonight, but I will be happy to attend the next meeting, whenever that is. I've already asked Farah that once it's scheduled to let me know when that meeting is going to be, and I will attend on our behalf, if that's
and I think
good with everybody.
Mrs. Marcus, it sounds like you would be willing to rotate in there as well.
I will.
Okay. So if we need to put that on the agenda to make it official, we can put it on our next meeting.
Typically, we have this under discussion anyway when we have our organization meetings, so we can go with this direction. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I will consider this your official appointment.
Well, Gabe can go until the discussion about, and I can join him, or if he can't make it, I'll go.
Okay, you're officially in. We're making this official.
Done.
All right, thank you for doing it, and we can't wait to hear your reports coming back.
Thank you, President Wells. And I'm sorry
great.
that I have to leave.
Okay. And Gabe is leaving early this evening, so goodbye. Thank you for everything. All right. The next item on our agenda is report on closed session. Dr. Brady?
President Wells, there was no action in closed session tonight.
Okay. Moving on, we may I have approval of the consent calendar.
I'll approve the consent calendar.
I will second the motion.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0 with a preferential vote from Alex Bowden. Next item on our agenda is Dr. Bragy's superintendent report.
Thank you, and good evening again. Short report for you this evening as we begin talking about a strategic plan. We are going to be concluding our reports about the strategic plan that we have been working on for the last couple of years. We will have a student growth report and video at our next school board meeting, but I do want to acknowledge a couple of areas this evening. One of them, of course, is in the leadership area. One thing that we've talked about a lot is feedback and getting feedback from all of our stakeholders. This has been part of our plan to obtain this feedback, kind of a 360 approach to learning the opinions and ideas, just the overall satisfaction level from all of our stakeholders. And when this was first launched, we went right into March of 2020. And of course, with COVID and the pandemic, it was our focus to keep a safe community and to provide a lot of communication that we were inundating people with. It was not the time, it was inappropriate to complete some aspects of this. And so we are picking this up where we've kind of left it. Now as we enter our new school year, we see that light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And we still feel like this is a really important part of our strategic plan, is to obtain this information. So we will continue moving in this direction so that we can get this feedback from all of our stakeholders. Sorry, there's a little bit of a delay here. Doesn't want to move. Try that. There we go. For diversity, equity, inclusion, this is a big part of our strategic plan that is really woven into the fabric of our school district, into classrooms and our schools, and into our district and into our community, as well as throughout our JPA partnership with the city. And so on the right-hand side, you can just see the number of things we just started to brainstorm, the things that we've done within our school district events, and you can see that these are district-wide events. And as we enter into this school year, we know how important this work is. We need to celebrate a lot of the achievements that we've had in this area. We have a lot of work to do, and we look forward to working into the next school year to embed a lot of these events and practices throughout what we do as a district and also in each of our schools. We had a really successful night with the community. This was a great partnership, National Night Out, and we did this with really little notice with the help of our entire leadership team that really came out, and we were in full force. It was a great partnership. I think we had the most people that attended, and what a great opportunity this was for us. Not only were we able to partner with our police department and our fire department and our city council, but it was also a really good opportunity. Our principals did something that was really great to be able to meet a lot of our new teachers, because our principals reached out to our new staff and said, hey, we're going to be attending National Night Out. It's in our community. Why don't you come see our community and your new community? So we had a lot of people that are new employees and staff that came to National Night Out as well. And then just the other benefit was to see people that we haven't seen in several weeks. And many of our families that are ready for their kids to come back to school. And we were told that over and over and over. And it was really exciting for us to be able to start meeting some new people. Security and safety, of course, is something that we're going to make a practice of sharing consistent information with you and updates through our board presentations, myself and Mr. Mead. We know that just like in what we do with school and anything that you do as far as a hobby, the more you practice, the better you get. We are increasing our partnership with the city. They are in our schools. They are practicing in our schools. They are doing advanced tactic drills in our schools. This Friday happens to be a time when we're going to be hosting the Beverly Hills Police Department to do these advanced tactic drills at Hawthorne Elementary. So we're kind of letting everybody know it might be a little noisy in the morning, but there is a difference to looking at practices and procedures in safety in theory or in a chart or in a book, but to be on our premises in our schools. And we invite, and we are very excited that our police department will be coming in to our schools to start doing these drills. This is going to continue on. We want to work with our police department so that all of our schools, we want our schools to be as familiar as possible to our police department. And so we are well ahead of where we would like to be in this area. We are excited about this partnership. I think Mr. Mead and I have met with the city and the police this summer, 5 or 6 different times. And so that's a great partnership. And I want you to be rest assured that that's only increasing and improving. And we're doing so many of the same things, following the same practices, same terminology, so that we can be the best that we can in safety and security. I just want to share with this great picture of our high school team, Mr. Chang, Ms. Jung, Ms. Decatrell, and Mr. Stewart. This was our new administrative team that I didn't get a chance to share with you. We're very excited that they will be joining together as a team. You'll see some new faces and some faces that have been here for a while too. Yesterday was a great day. I want to thank Mr. Seaman so much for the work that he puts into new teacher orientation. It was a great introduction for our new staff yesterday. There was a room full of excited and nervous new teachers. And it was just such a great opportunity for us to share and begin those relationships with our new staff. And we had a really good couple of days, and Mr. Seaman led the entire event, and we had the opportunity to pop in and share a little bit of our knowledge and our welcomes as well. But it was a great overall event. It's something that we look forward to every year. And just welcome back. So Friday, we are at the Saban Theater for our opening day celebration, and we are very excited to be able to welcome everybody back. I think everybody's ready to get back into the routine. We are ready and we are excited to welcome our staff and our students back for this upcoming fall semester. I talk a lot about Rotary, and President Wells, myself, Ms. Starkins, we are members of the Beverly Hills Rotary, and they continue to do great work in our community. And I feel very privileged that we're included a lot in our Rotary celebration, which is not typical. I've been a Rotarian for over 14 or 15 years, and it is an incredible service to be part of this type of just organization. But the level that their president, J.R. Zubak, involves our school is just I've never seen anything like it. And so again, increasing that partnership and our relationships with the city is really important, and that has really increased. Yesterday at our Rotary, the theme was just welcome back to school, and that was for the entire Rotary. So we're often involved. The week before that, or 2 weeks before that, Ms. Dubin and Mr. Seema were able to give a demonstration and a presentation to the entire community that was so well received that we had people yesterday asking us if we would come back and share more. So that says a lot about what we're doing here in BHUSD. And then finally, this was taken yesterday at our new teacher orientation and welcome. All of our principals, Mr. Bugby, Ms. Kaber, Dr. Scahn, Ms. Decatrell, and Mr. Stewart, and most of them are here this evening. So I'm going to end my report with Mr. Bugby saying a few words.
All of us.
Great.
Very few words. Good evening, school board and Beverly Hills community. I am Craig Bugby, principal of Horace Mann Elementary School. I always like to say that. We have a brief comment tonight as we look ahead to the launch of the 2022 to 2023 school year. We stand as a unified BHUSD site principal team to share a sentiment with our school board.
We wanted to thank you so much for your leadership.
And to tell you in the community how much we are looking forward to this new school year.
We're looking forward to our fresh start together as a team and are excited about what is happening at the district level and at the site level.
Mine's not scripted, but I wanted to tell you that BVMS and Hawthorne had a lot of renovations this summer. Both campuses look amazing, but we wanted to also take a moment to thank our custodial staff that worked the entire summer to get us ready to clean up after contractors, and our campuses look great. So thank you for everything, and thank you to them.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Great, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
for
We're
that
all
message.
looking forward to the new year.
And that is my report.
Thank you, Dr. Brady. I don't think that we can even start talking about the new year without thanking Dr. Brady for all the work he put in this summer and giving up his summer vacation. He was at MTA at the trial for eminent domain every day. It took up a huge amount of time, and he still managed to get all of this other work done, and all at the expense of his vacation, I believe. And I just want to thank you for all of your dedication and all of your work, because this isn't a welcome back for you because you never left. So I just want to thank you. Mrs. Alex?
I just want to say thank you, Dr. Brady, for your report. And also, I'm personally super excited for the new administration changes at the high school, because I personally couldn't think of two better people to be the co's than Ms. Decatrell and Mr. Stewart. And I also had Mr. Chang as my freshman year honors English teacher. So seeing him run around campus all the time is super fun.
Well, again, thank you for that very comprehensive report, Dr. Brady completed, and I like you so much that's happening, and you highlighted it. It was wonderful to see all that. I was missing from the picture on the night out. I don't know why. I think it was because I was wearing a white shirt.
I saw you in the video.
I'm sorry, I will speak to Ms. Starkins about that. And that will be in her evaluation.
I guess the reason you left me out was because I was wearing a white shirt rather than the black shirt, which I had been given that day without realizing what it was all for. That was, you know.
You must watch the video. I have to give Rebecca credit. That video is so fantastic, and I posted it on my social media, and I get so many compliments on it.
I guess I didn't see the video. I'll have to wait.
But now that you're on Instagram, you can see it.
Yeah, I see you're on Instagram. I'm getting very socially mediated right now. So again,
no,
I am
really
so excited
fantastic
about the new school year, and I have to tell you that I like those new orange shirts you guys are wearing. They really are something. Keep it up. That's a way to keep the spirit up. I like it. And again, thank you for that very wonderful report.
Thank you, yes, for that report. And I also want to say that what's amazing about Beverly Hills, and your report seemed to highlight it, is that there are so many layers that if you look at the metaphor of our children sort of being in a nice cocoon where there's layers of support, and all throughout the community, that's a ripple effect. So the Rotary is very robust, a lot of great individuals, and the police and fire department, and you guys are all together to make a wonderful community. And, you know, our Los Angeles County neighbors, you know, have a lot bigger layers, and it's not quite as intimate, and it's amazing what we can really give our students because of the relationships that you forge with different community members, and I commend you for that. And I also want to commend you for your very hard work over the summer. I mean, if anyone needed a break over the summer, it would be you. I mean, COVID last year and everything, and it wasn't the most pleasant for you to have to sit through these trials, but you did not go unrecognized, and it's just another reason why we think you're amazing. So, yeah.
Another thing, I think I have to share this. National Night Out was so fantastic. I mean, it was so filled with energy. I don't think there's another word you could have used. It was just such positive energy. And I want to thank all of you for being out there, because you are the reason that it was so positive. And everybody that came out, it just, the school district had such a grand presence. That's the best way I can say it. And it was really positive. And I have to share a story that a parent said to me that night, because we don't hear enough of these. And he told me that he had planned to leave the district. They applied out. They got accepted to go someplace else. But he just couldn't, and they were going to leave the district, but he just couldn't imagine leaving this school community and leaving the schools. And so he's back. And I just think that we don't hear those stories. And he was there at National Night Out with his kids, and it was really positive. And I think that's a story that we should always share when we hear these stories, because we usually focus on on why did somebody leave, not why did they come back. And I think it's important to share. So thank you all. And I'm so excited. I can't tell you how excited I am about this upcoming year.
You heard a comment that night, and so did I. I share you my comment. A parent who is coming in with a grandparent permit, and she's going into, I guess, Beverly Vista, and she said to me after watching the camaraderie and the feeling of so warmth and everything, she says, I am so glad that I made this decision to bring my child back to Beverly Hills. I just am sure it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, I also just want to say thank you too. I mean, this is, it works when, everyone works together and people come to events like that. And I've been doing this a long time, as you know, and this is, I've never had a board that attends so many events that, not that this is a secret or anything, but that, our school board has asked for, a calendar of all of the events just to keep them straight, because our board members show up and they come to events, and that is unique. And so I want to thank you all for that.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you for your presentation. And next we will hear from Alex Bowden.
School year has not started yet, but I have quite a few things to share with you today, which is exciting. A lot of student-run activities. My presentation today is very centered around the high school, hence the... Yep, it's lagging. There we go. So this is mostly high school news. Oh, there you go. The first thing I'm going to talk about is our Link Crew and freshman orientation. So Link Crew is a program that happens every year where juniors and seniors volunteer to lead the incoming freshmen through freshman orientation day. So we play games and activities with the freshmen. So each kind of pair of Link Crew leaders gets a group of 10 to 15 freshmen, and we give them a tour of the high school and introduce them to kind of the important people on campus, and just, get them kind of, knowing where to go on the first day. So hopefully they're not lost, even though that still happens. And, kind of get them used to everything. A nice thing that I will say is that because of BVMS, we don't have the issue of people not knowing each other anymore. So that's a nice thing that we didn't have to worry about this year. So these are just some photos from our training days last week. I have become the new historian in ASB. So you'll be seeing a lot of photos from our events. And then actually this morning was freshman orientation. So I've been at school since 7 in the morning. And I will share a video, but I have to switch my screen share to my phone for that, so I'll do it at the end. But it was a lot of fun. The next thing that I won't spend too much time on is National Night Out, which again was super fun. The high school had a lot of ASB members there and cheerleaders, and to my understanding, this is probably one, if not the biggest community event that the city has held since before the pandemic. So seeing that this tradition is back, which is something that I've been going to since I was a little kid, is really nice to see. And this is just a video of our ASB president and a former ASB member there. Oh. And then the next thing I want to talk about is some student initiatives that are already happening even before the school year starts. So KBEV has started a new series called Beverly Bytes, which is hosted by Natasha Jadidalahi, Jasmine Mahidizadeh, and directed and edited by Colby Gilardian, who are all standing in the back of the room. And so Beverly Bytes is a really cool initiative that I watched the first episode on KBEV a few days ago, and I was like, I need to feature this. And basically, Beverly Bytes is a new series that features local restaurants in the city, in Beverly Hills, and in Los Angeles to provide some affordable places for the community members and students to dine at, and to also help rebuild clientele that was lost during the pandemic. So a lot of these businesses are, small businesses, family run, and so, they were really hurt during the pandemic. And Beverly Bytes, by featuring them, is really helping them out with that. And all of the restaurants that are featured also provide student discounts to Beverly students, which is also super amazing. And personally, I really think one of the coolest aspects is that KBEV is really getting their students out there and reporting in the city and supporting the community. And I just have to say that that's something that I am a huge advocate for. So I highly recommend you go watch this first video on KBEV's YouTube channel. And then the last thing I have to talk about is, again, students already, taking initiative and fundraising. So girls volleyball had a bake sale on Sunday at Roxbury Park where, team members made homemade desserts and, made some money, and it was super successful from what I've heard. And that's all I have, but I do have a video from freshman orientation that I will share, but I have to switch my screen sharing for that. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I don't know if this is gonna work. Okay, I don't think this is gonna work, but if you follow the student board member Instagram, SBM Bodden on Instagram, you can watch the video that I posted this morning of freshman orientation, and I'll share it at the next board meeting.
Terrific. Thank you, Alex. Mrs. Marcus?
Well, Alex, again, thank you for that wonderful report. I see that you are following in the footsteps of your predecessor, and I really think you're doing a great job. You really, I think, keeping up the interest that we started, and you are doing a wonderful job, and you are to be congratulated. I happened to see you at National Night Out. We took a picture with the whole group, and it was fun to meet them, and some of them I've had to be students, but it was wonderful, and to see the kids in their cheerleading outfits and so on, it was really wonderful. I had an idea about this Beverly Bytes. You were saying that the kids can go there and get special rates. Perhaps if you were to advertise that restaurant is doing that, maybe the city and the community, some of the people in the community, teachers, students, might also go there, and they would give the students back or give your organization, the ASB, back some money for your organization at that restaurant and maybe any ensuing restaurant. I thought it might be something you might want to explore. It was just an idea that popped into my head. But again, lovely report. I look forward to the video when I can see it. Okay, thank you.
Alex, wonderful. I see that there's a whole wealth of things going on that I really enjoy that you're sharing with us. And thank you for joining us this evening, even though you were at the high school so early today. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, thank you for putting in such a long day today. You're officially a board member. I wanted to make a recommendation for KBEV for the Bytes. What is it called again? I already
Beverly
forgot.
Bytes.
Beverly Bytes. It's very familiar to me because it sounds very similar to what Mayor Bossy is doing with her business with Bossy. And I think you guys should hook up with her. And I think this would be a great collaboration with you and Mayor Bossy on her business with Bossy platform that she's doing. So I advise you to speak with her, and I'll mention it to her myself. So I think it's wonderful. And thank you very much.
And thank you for your report. It's an honor to follow you on Instagram. Thank you for helping me follow you on Instagram when at National Night Out. I always love when student board members come on and they start to make this their own, and you're throwing in a lot of things that I really like, spotlighting some great things that are happening with some other organizations, and then just also what I've been able to see you do with video is just remarkable, and you do it like within seconds, and so I can't wait to see that. I think that the videos that you put together are super creative. It's the world we live in, and so I'm a visual person as well, like your son, and so seeing those types of videos, and we'll look forward to working with you so that we can see them the first time that you put them up, because I think that you put a lot of time and effort into them, and I think that's going to help you set you apart from some other styles that we've seen in the past. So thank you.
Really wonderful. Let's see, where are we? Oh, we're next up on our agenda is meeting reports, and I'll start with you, Mrs. Marcus.
Well, I didn't have any meetings these past 2 weeks. It was quiet. I do have one tomorrow with the the facilities and construction meeting. The CBOC meeting, I believe, was canceled. That was supposed to be scheduled and been pushed back to like the 24th. And I'm not sure when the finance committee meeting is, but I will be getting back in the swing of things very shortly.
Thank you. Dr. Stern?
The HRC has not met lately, and I think in August they are not planning on any meetings, so I don't have anything to report at this point.
Thank you. I don't have, I have one meeting to report. This last Friday, we had an audit committee update. We had a check-in meeting with Moss Adams. They're starting the audit on the construction audit for Pro West, and we had a meeting with them last Friday. And they're a little bit behind so far because they're having some trouble getting the documents from Pro West, but they're meeting again this Thursday, so I expect that that's going to start moving forward. And that's the only meeting I was really at separately this week. And that's it. Okay, next item on our agenda is business and finance. It's for information only, the 45-day budget revision. And we have Mr. Guzman.
And good evening, Ms. Wells, our board members, Dr. Brady, cabinet members, and members of our community staff. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and I'm going to be presenting on the 22-23 45-day budget revision. So bear with me while I share the slide here. All right, let's see if it. Okay, here we go. So and let's see if it lets me. Oh, there we go. So firstly, I just want to thank the district cabinet and the fiscal team. As you can see there, everyone here really plays a big factor in regards to making sure our budget is correct, that it's following the right assumptions, that we have collaborated with each department. And so everyone here on the screen have really been a tremendous help and asset to us, especially Angeli Villaflor, who is our Director of Fiscal Services. She's doing amazing work, and I appreciate everything she does. And each one of the teams from HR with Dr. Horvath and Mr. Seaman in the Ed Services Department, and Laura, Dr. Chisholm in the as the Assistant Soup of Student Services. Everyone's really been very supportive, so I appreciate everything that everyone does, and also Rebecca for all of her support in making sure that the budget is going the right way. So that's great. So as we look at the budget financial reporting cycle, it's important to see, that everything we do is really a very cyclical operation. And right now in the month of July, we're presenting, August, we're presenting the 45-day budget revision. And as we move forward in September, we'll look at the unaudited actuals, and then in December, the first interim report, and we'll keep going. Eventually the second interim and the May revision, and eventually we'll get back to the new adopted budget, and we'll keep going. So right now we're in the August timeframe, and we're getting ready to present the unaudited actuals here very soon. So that's very exciting as we go forward. So the 45-day budget revision, it's not very often that this district has done a 45-day budget revision because it hasn't needed to do so. And really, essentially, what happened here was that the 22-23 California State Budget Act was signed, and it did include some changes that should be incorporated into the budget. And so we have a 45-day window to do so, and we're in that window. So what we're doing here today is just presenting some of the updates. So here on this chart here, you could see that our property tax revenues actually went up a little bit. So we were able to recognize those increases, and it's mainly the recognition of prior year property tax revenue and the way the way it's being recognized, we're able to identify that. That represented about $1.2 million additional for the budget. And in regards to new state grants, we were able to, because of the 45-day window, we're able to incorporate those new state grants that the governor approved after our budget was adopted here in the board meeting. So altogether, it's about a $5.2 million increase to our revenues. On the expense side, we parked some of this in instructional materials and supplies, but eventually that's going to be disseminated amongst where eventually when the plan is made for the grants, we'll have to move those around, but we wanted to show an expense because or else it's going to overinflate your budget, so we don't want that to happen. So the expenses, we're showing about $2 million of an increase there. Now, as we look at the expenditures, here's a pie chart of that, so you can kind of see, the bulk of our expenses are really in certificated, classified, and employee benefits. Now, as we look at our fund balance, I know that when we looked at the adopted budget, Mr. Roach presented that, and he showed that there'd be some deficit spending that's being projected, and he did also mention that he believed that at the 45-day revision we would show some extra revenues, and that's exactly what happened. I don't know if he was if he's a fortune teller or something, but he was able to tell us, and he was right. So as of now, we're not really we're barely there, 51,000 in the black. That could change at first interim, so I just want to make sure that you're all aware of that, as we look at the budget and see the different hires that are made and where everyone came in, and when we review everything with Dr. Horvath and Mr. Seaman and Dr. Chisholm, we'll be able to look at everything and make sure we're online. So with that, the ending fund balance of the general fund there essentially is at about $19.7 million. And when we look at everything all together, including Fund 17, it's about 29.9, which is a 31.5% reserve, which is pretty much where we want to be for a district that has to really look carefully at property tax and the fluctuations there. So next steps, the approval of the unaudited actuals. I know it says 21-22 there. That is what we're approving. So we're closing the books. That's essentially what's happening there on the September 6th board meeting. You can expect some further revisions at first interim as the district revises its budget assumptions. So we'll always, in that cycle, as mentioned, we're always doing changes based on the most recent assumptions and the assessment of actual expenditure data. And finally, we will be continuing to monitor ESSER funds to ensure they are expended by the established timelines. I believe that in the month of September, we'll be giving an update on some of that, so we're excited about that. But those are our next steps. So next thing is the unaudited actuals. And that is about it. And I'll leave it back to you, Dr. Brady.
Thank you very much for that report. It seems like you've been here forever. You didn't miss a beat. It's really fantastic.
Thank you.
Mrs. Marcus or Alex, would you like to start with any questions?
Just thank you for your report.
Thank you.
I was going to ask about the ESSER funds, but I see that you're going to give us a report on that next month, so I won't ask you about that. I would like to just comment that I'm very glad that the state and the property tax gave our budget, gave our income a nice big boost, because otherwise I think we would have been talking about things the other way. So I am very grateful, and I'm sure that we're going to be very careful how we spend that money and how we use it in the future. So I appreciate the report. I thought it was very well presented, and I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to continuing to work with you, Mr. Guzman.
Thank you, Mr. Marcus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guzman, and welcome again. Very happy to have you. So with the ESSER and the COVID funds, if we don't spend them by the allotted time period, what happens to those?
I will make sure.
I'm sure there's no shortage of things.
I will make sure that
I'll
we
spend them
it.
too.
I think Dustin will probably do something to me if I don't spend the money. No, we'll make sure that we spend it. So what happens is if you don't expend the funds, you would have to return the funds. And so there's
that's
just
right.
no way we're going to let that happen.
There's plenty of there's plenty of
yeah,
expenditures. I'm
and
sure.
you know, we're just going to make sure that's why we want to give you a report in September, just so you could see where we're at,
Got
you know,
it.
and when we expect to really deplete everything and you know, expend it all down. So we'll make sure that that's done.
And I'm also happy that you did confirm that the free lunch is still district-wide, and I know that a lot of families probably appreciate that, and so that's good. I know that's part of that.
Yes. So we will. So the Universal Meals Program is part of the budget, so that allows for up to, 2 meals a day for our students, breakfast and lunch.
For all students.
Yes,
yeah.
for all students, regardless
All
of income.
schools, yeah.
Every student now will be able to receive both of those. So our Director of Food Services, Heather Amayo, she's working very hard to make sure that we're preparing for that. Because there's a lot of preparation. It's a significant increase in the number of meal production. So she's hard at work in getting our staff ready for all of that. And
She's baking.
Yeah. Yes. So thank you.
Can I
Thank
make one more comment? I mean, I've
Yes.
been around quite a while, as you know, and I have to tell you that the free lunch program has done wonders for our budget, because I remember when we used to have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to the lunch program because they were losing so much money. And this has been such a boon to our budget that we don't have to do this, that I think that the community should be aware of this, and the kids should really be thanking the fact that they can go to the lunchroom and get a free lunch, or even come for breakfast. And I just am wondered at that everybody knows that this is a wonderful thing, not only for the kids, but for our budget.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. I think also we put some support with Heather in light of that, so that she has some more support so that she can handle that extra workload. And I think that's, and I remember when she gave a presentation to the board last year, I think it was. And so I'm happy to know that she's getting that support. And as we are refocusing on our strategic plan, I'm certain that we will have those dollars prioritized to where we see the need, and that the dollars will go to good use. And I'm grateful that we have that opportunity, and we have lots of work to do that we're all excited to do, and I'm happy that we'll have resources to be able to make that happen.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on our agenda is public comment. And we have one public comment. It's from Kai Chang. Welcome. You may begin when you're ready, and you have 3 minutes, just so you know.
That sounds fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. My name is Kai Chang. My wife and I are parents of a newborn and live in Beverly Hills. As residents of Beverly Hills and parents, we were a little surprised that Beverly Hills does not offer a Mandarin immersion program at any level. Now, we've been doing some research. Multiple schools within Beverly Hills, and Beverly Hills adjacent areas, do offer dual language programs in Mandarin, including the Merriman School in Bel Air, in Brentwood, Stratford School, Harvard Westlake, and in addition, LAUSD offers Mandarin in multiple options, including the Braddock School in Culver City and the Broadway Elementary School in Venice. Now, in his earlier remarks, he's not here anymore, Mr. Hamili said that we live in a time of unprecedented change, and it's very difficult to predict the world that our current children will live in when they graduate into. Well, obviously, no one has a crystal ball to see into the future. I feel confident there's some macro observations that we can project based on what we observe right now. Now, obviously, we have an obvious ethnic self-interest in making this claim, but we've seen many ambitious parents who are not Chinese arrive at the same conclusion. Given the direction of international economic development, and current school children will enter adulthood in an increasingly multilingual world with deeper ties to Asia. Consequently, children immersed in Mandarin education have the foundation to be an adult who can speak accent-free Mandarin Chinese. These adults will have a decisive competitive advantage in an economy over monolingual American young adults or those who only study European languages. Now, this is my first visit to the Beverly Hills School Board meeting, and don't know if this has been a topic that's been discussed before, but we want to at least spark that conversation that everyone else, from the more expensive schools to poorer schools, have this option. And we want to know, has this been discussed before? If not, we'd like to start the discussion. If it has been discussed and shelved, we'd like to understand why. Because although our child will not enter the Beverly Hills School District for another 6 years or so, we'd like to at least understand what we can expect. And if there is something, we'd be happy to spark conversation on that topic. that's it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Okay, so I don't believe we have any other public comments. So I'm going to move to board comments, and I'll start with you, Alex.
All I want to say is I'm super excited for school to start next week. And as I said in the last board meeting, I really think that this is going to be the year where we get to experiment with the things we've always wanted to do. And, you know, we're finally back, and we've gotten used to reconfiguration and you know, our policies right now with COVID have, you know, loosened. So there's a lot more we can do, and I'm very excited. Yeah, that's it.
Mrs. Marcus?
Well, I just want to wish everybody a very, very successful start to the school year, the teachers, the students, and the faculty. I think it's going to be a great year. I'm looking forward to a great year. I just want to remind everybody to remember that when you go to school on the first few days, it gets to be a little bit of confusion with traffic and getting there and so on. And I think you need to either start early and get there early, or be prepared to be patient and be considerate of everybody, because I think that's very important. So again, I want to wish you all a very wonderful beginning of the school year, and I hope that, as I say, you will be very, very considerate and civil and patient and follow the rules about getting to school, and I'm sure it will be successful. So thank you very much.
I want to congratulate our district for getting ready to launch an exciting new year. I do also have a lot of positive feelings. I'm very happy about it. And I want to remind parents from a psychological standpoint that some of the habits that you set up early, the first week or two, about how you would like your child or children to carry out the rest of their evening can be very helpful. And they say that something like repeating a behavior 3 times establishes a habit. So I don't know if that's helpful to parents, but when we think about homework, which I know can be stressful, but habits and laying down a routine for the evening and what is expected can go a long way, especially if you start early in the year. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to take that advice. I wanted to. I'm interested about having Mandarin as a language here. I actually had that same question myself. So I would love for us to have further conversation about that. I know that as well. I think Archer has that as part of their curriculum offerings as well. So I would like to have that conversation and hear more about it. And then finally, I would just encourage everybody to tune in for our next board meeting, which is August the 23rd. And be here while we hopefully are approving our new mission and vision and values, and as well our board governance handbook, and signing our community pledge, which you'll hear more about. So please tune in for next board meeting on August the 23rd. Do you have any comments?
You know, we're still awaiting any guidelines from the LA County Department of Public Health. I know those are not words that you want to hear from me, many people, but we are still waiting for those guidelines and those procedures, and we will share that information when we get that to you as soon as we get it. But also, as we are excited about starting the new school year, I just, absent of those guidelines, I just want people to, just remind people that, masks are absolutely a choice and an acceptable part of our culture, and it has been, and it's worked really well. As we've had masks required on and off, and we're going to start the same way with the school year with preference, and there's still layers of protection that are out there. I just got my 4th booster, so you got to keep in mind that it's not over, and you need to do what you need to do to feel safe. Nobody knows their kids better than their parents. And so that those layers of protection are still out there, that we are following, that we will continue to follow, everything from our ventilation and the highest grade of the MERV 13 filters, and We're continuing to do all of those things, the temperature checks, and we've got a lot of things in place that we're going to continue doing, and there's a lot that we're going to ask our community to do if they feel that that's appropriate for them and their children. So they haven't gone away. We're happy to talk about the things that the county will pass on to us. But people have been asking about not getting that information. We just don't have it. And so we're kind of entering a new school year with parents allowed to be parents and to make the decisions that are best for their family. But we will continue to pass on that information as soon as we get it. Last thing is just, again, opening day, an exciting day where we're going to be just kind of a mixed bag of everything. So it's welcoming people back. It's celebrating. It's recognizing. We're going to be setting some direction for our school district. And I think Alex said it best. I'm super excited for the school year to start.
Agree. All right, well, that's it then. I would like to thank you all and enjoy your last minutes of summer, what's left, and we'll see you in the new year. And I will officially adjourn our meeting. It is 6:45. Good night, everyone.
Good night.